Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Dugout Mug Studios. Welcome back. This is the 7th inning stretch.
I like it. We're fired up here. Josh, great intro there, my friend. I like it. Hey, been about a month here since we had our last kind of crown the champ a little bit. Been a while. We did a show a couple weeks ago. We're with you a couple weeks later here. Kind of want to touch on some of the free agents here, especially the starting pitchers, some of the relief pitchers as well. We'll get on that. Kind of want to get Josh's thoughts on a lot of first-time Hall of Fame ballot contestants there. So I want to take a look at that as well. Just kind of get an early look at that as we kind of get to January with those decisions as well. And of course, I'll have a little trivia here for Josh as well. He's by himself tonight, it looks like, so he might be in deep trouble. So if you're out there, folks, join with us here.
Supposed to Edwards on me in the offseason.
And we'll take a little easy. I think this one might be a little bit of a softball, but sometimes I've said that before, and it hasn't always rewarded you.
Tee it up for me.
There we go. We'll do that. So we'll get into that. I got the bonanza for you as well. So we'll have some fun here tonight, talking some baseball here. Variety Sports Network 7th inning stretch. Josh, been a while. We did the off-season show about 2 weeks ago, just kind of get an early look at it. All right, now that's been a month. You kind of wrapped your head around the Dodgers winning World Series champs now. Is that how are we processing that? And the idea of them even possibly getting a Soto, are we numb to this at some point? Does it not matter? Yeah, okay. So that's what we're numb to it at this point.
The Dodgers could win every World Series until Shohei Ohtani is no longer on the roster, and I wouldn't be surprised.
Man,
because he is the smartest businessman I have ever seen in sports. I'm the best. Good. We know I'm the best. I'm going to have you pay me $2 million a year while I'm here so I can win as many championships as possible and I can become the greatest baseball player of all time. I still think he cheated. I still think he needs to be investigated. But
that's for another show.
Dude can play ball.
He can definitely play ball. We know that. And the other thing, too, with him as well is it will be interesting next year when he becomes how he does as a pitcher. Like, does he add on to the ability that we already know he has as a hitter? And he will if he's healthy, but that's always kind of a concern there with him. And if he's hurt pitching, does that affect him hitting? Like, there is a little bit risk reward. It'll be a different type of year next year for the Dodgers. It'll be interesting what they do with Soto in that regard. Just the factor in the mix is just, I mean, it's kind of sickening in some regards. But at the bottom here, I just want to get some people. I got the updates for you. Got some few quotes of the week as well that I thought were kind of good for you guys to be aware of. Some headlines from the week as well. We'll get into awards here in a little bit too, kind of touch on the managers of the year. We just had the Cy Young Award winners announced today. Kind of wanted to get Josh's opinion on the second place winner there, and maybe an interesting question involving the Hall of Fame with him here. So we'll get to that here in a little bit. But, Josh, as we kind of get going, like we did the show a couple weeks ago, like as I mentioned a couple times here, and we talked, I felt like we focused a little bit more on the hitters because of the Soto factor and some of that. We kind of passed over on some of the top aces, some of the top pitchers. And then I thought, all right, let's, it's still early on in the process here, but maybe by the time we join you in the first week of December, some of these guys might already be signed, or Josh will be rumored for them to sign by the time we get to that after Thanksgiving, which is hard to believe is already next week, folks.
Oh,
and
I know, right?
We talked about him a little bit last week. It's Corbin Burns, but we didn't really deep dive into him a little. And for me, I put some of the stats there for him. He's 30 years old, right? He's definitely the top pitcher available. He's proven he is a workhorse. He's gone the last 4 years innings pitched. He went 167, 202, 193, 194. So a little short of 200 a couple times there, and he hit the 200 mark in 2002. And he won the Cy Young there in 2021 when he only went 167. This is payday for him. This is going to be the contract he's going to want to be big. And it's too bad the Orioles don't just want to sign him. I feel, you know what I mean? Like, that's where I get disappointed. Or maybe they will. They'll surprise me, but I just don't see that being the case. We're getting other names mentioned here. I don't know. What's your thoughts with Corbin Burns? Do you think there's a certain spot for him? What do you kind of see the offseason playing out for him? Where would you like to see him maybe? And then maybe where do you see him going? It might be the same, though.
I'd like to see him in Baltimore just to be there.
Yeah.
If he's not there, I think Baltimore has been building for a decade, and it's finally starting to come together. If you let a pitcher of this caliber go away and you don't get somebody to fill that spot, you're taking a massive step backwards. Obviously, injuries and depth were a little bit of a problem for the Orioles, and then their bullpen was a bit of an issue for them. which means they need strong starters who can go past the 5-inning mark. Corbin Burns is that guy, like you just mentioned. He's going to go where he gets paid. This is like you said, this is the big paycheck. This is the last big contract he's probably going to get, unless he pulls like a Snell move, signs a 2-year, 30 AAV average, 35 AAV average, and then goes back on the market again. No. Or he gets a very friendly player contract where it's like a 5-year deal and he's got a couple opt-out options. This is it. So he needs to get paid, and Baltimore needs to step up. I fear if Baltimore doesn't, I mean, could the Yankees come in and sweep him? I mean, is that a possibility?
Well,
do the Dodgers look after him? Maybe he ends up in San Francisco with the Giants. I mean, he's a big name. Teams have money to spend, and he wants to get paid. I don't know where he's going to end up. I want him in Baltimore to keep balance in the AL East, but we'll see what happens.
Well, I mean, I think Baltimore would be the best fit from a competitive standpoint in that regard. I think we'd all like to see him stay there. It'll be interesting, where he ends up. I feel like he's one of those guys that might surprise me and go somewhere I'm not expecting. Like, maybe it's like some team that, or something like that, or Boston that I'm just not. I don't see him as a Red Sox, but maybe he goes there as well. Kansas City, I definitely don't see that as one of the options. It'll be, his numbers are so interesting though. Like, he is a workhorse, and so I wonder if teams are a little gun shy of giving him a big contract in some ways. I don't think they should be, but I feel like him and the Orioles are the best fit. So the Orioles need to also understand is, for them to be able to compete in the AL East with the Red Sox wanting to spend a little bit more, with the Yankees being the Yankees, they're going to have to keep up. And so, I mean, at some point they're going to have to make a decision here, and they're going to need pitching. So he's going to be a big one here moving forward. The other one is the guy in the NL. And we can go back to Burns too at any point. I just wanted to kind of get him going too with this Snell. As we have the site, we have him. He's a lefty, right, Josh? He's in the National League. He's pitched in the American League. He also pitched with the Padres as well. He settled for that 2-year deal with San Francisco.
Settled on a 2-year, $62 million.
Well, I mean, he only got one. He only got the one. He obviously opted out after the first year. But I guess my question is, do you see him getting? Do you see him being there still available come March again? Or do you think
he's not that stupid? If he's that dumb, if he is that dumb, then he deserves whatever he ends up getting.
But he's still got a decent deal.
Yeah, like but look who he ended up with. Does he want to win games, or does he want to just get paid?
Well, the Giants are still rumored to be one of the teams.
I understand that.
And that's actually kind of a favorite. The
and
Giants need him.
Oh, the Giants. If the Giants don't re-sign him for some reason, T's just going to lose his ever-loving mind. But no, I mean, the Giants should, but I wouldn't sign him. I just wouldn't.
But when you say you wouldn't sign him, though, like the Giants got him for a 2-year deal. So, like, I'm assuming you'd be fine with that again.
I would do like 2-year, 25 a year.
But he wants 5. Do you think he gets that?
From some, he'll get it. He'll get it from some team, as long as he doesn't play hardball. So if he can get $30 million a year for 5 years, if somebody offers him that, he should take it. If he wants more than that, I think he's dreaming.
Man, it'll
because the back end of that contract's going to be nasty. That arm's not going to be what it was. He's not. Most likely, he's not.
He doesn't go far into games, though.
We've seen Scherzer, and that's my problem. He doesn't eat innings. I can't pay a guy $31 million a year to pitch if he's not a 6-inning plus guy.
I hear you.
I mean, can you? I mean, what do you think?
I mean, it'd be tough for me to see him going that far into getting that much money. What he finished with the second half right here. What he 5-0, 1.23 ERA his last 14 starts. That's what he's banking on, right? That's why Snell got out of the deal there with it. So I think he ends up. I think the Yankees really want him. I think that's a team that I could really see making a push for him. The Giants are a tough one for me. Like, I just don't see the Giants closing the deal yet. But they did get Buster Posey, so it does give me a little bit more hope that he can close the deal as the GM or president opposed to Farhan Zaidi. And he did finish really well. And, like, San Francisco is a pitching park. And you know what I mean? Like, the Dodgers,
unless
even if
Barry
you go
Bonds
to
at the plate.
Yeah, no, I hear you. But even if he goes to a different – yeah, exactly. Even if you go to a different place, though, you still got to beat the Dodgers at the end of the day. And I just feel like I feel like Snell. I feel like the Giants is a good fit for him, and so I would like to see him come back. I think it is actually the best fit for him, and I don't want to see him go to the Yankees, Braves, or Dodgers. I think that I'd like to see it mixed up a little bit too, like you said, the talent a little bit too, and I think the Giants should be able to afford somebody like this. So let's get the job done.
Can I give you my sleeper team for either one of these guys?
Yeah.
Actually, it's two sleeper teams, and they both come from the same state. You want to take a guess?
Texas?
Houston and Texas. I can see both of these guys ending up in Texas. Maybe not on the same roster, but I can see both these guys in Texas at the start of next year.
Man, the Rangers keep saying they're going to cut payroll, so I'm not sure. Like that's what I keep hearing, but then why would I just don't see that being the case either. So I'm with you. I think Texas is.
I lean more towards Houston, but it wouldn't shock me if Texas made a move to keep their payroll the same and go get one of these guys.
Yeah, no, I agree, and we'll see where Toronto lies in some of this. Like if they miss out on
that's what I wanted to ask you about. I didn't mention that to you. I wanted to ask you what you thought Toronto's going to do this offseason. With everything they went through this last year with the roster, what do you think Toronto's going to do? Are they going to go after pitching or what?
Well, they went after pitching a couple years ago, and it kind of panned out for them, but like it didn't really work the way they wanted it to. I think they're still obviously in the Soto race as well, so that will determine a little bit as well. I think they'll make an offer. You think
he'd go to Canada?
I don't think he will, but I think they'll make an offer to him. I think they'll make a legit offer to him that may be more money, and we'll see. I don't know.
What do you think it takes? 10 years, $600 million?
I think if they offered him anything in the 700, he would take it. Golly. I don't think he's worth that, but I think that's.
Oh, either do I.
But I think that's what for something like Toronto, right? For you to kind of, if you're Juan Soto, to kind of go to that next level, that's what you probably would have to think, right?
Those taxes in Canada are so much higher.
I know. That's my point. Is you'd have to kind of outdo a few things here,
right.
And so it'd be. I mean, New York's not cheap either with taxes. So,
California.
No. So we'll see where he goes, and that hasn't affected any of these players. They make enough money off doing endorsements too with these things. So Snell's another one for me where I'm kind of interested to see where he ends up after being, like I said, 2-time Cy Young winner. The other guy, lefty, is Fried. You're hearing a lot with the Dodgers with him. You're hearing a lot with the Dodgers with Fried. That's the guy. I mean, they can't get everybody. So my point is there is going to be a few names that you're hearing.
You don't think he ends up back in Atlanta?
No, I think Atlanta lets him go.
Okay.
They do this.
They do.
Atlanta does this. They let people go. They're not afraid to do that at all.
Fried was teammates with Flaherty in college, right?
Uh-huh.
He went to Vanderbilt.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Would you think he may sign for a shorter contract to go if Jack stays in LA with the Dodgers? Has Jack re-signed with the Dodgers? I don't know.
No. He's still he's on my list here in a little bit. No, he's a free agent. He's a free agent.
Could you see if he ends up re-signing with the Dodgers on maybe a 2-year deal that he doesn't go petition Fried to say, come on? Well, see, Fried's 31, so I don't know if that even works out. Never mind.
No, I don't think Atlanta will keep him. I think he's gone. I like the idea. A couple of surprise teams, and maybe would be Cincinnati and Chicago. I think New York is also. I think the Mets are a big play in this. I think the Mets are a big play with Fried.
It's a good call.
I think that's probably their strongest one is Fried. There, I think Fried's definitely going to be up for grabs, and I think he's a great pitcher. I think he's one of the best pitchers in the National League. So I expect him to be a big part of it going forward. I mean, I don't know. I like guys that throw strikes. They don't walk many guys. So that's the way I would do it as well. You mentioned Shane Bieber as well last time we were on with Logan. You mentioned him as well. He's an interesting name here as a free agent too, and where he might end up. I mean, would you put him at tier? Is he ahead of those guys? Is he ahead of Snell? I mean, I would think Snell's a little better than him, right?
I would probably lean to Bieber because of age.
So you would?
Just because of age. It gives me 2 more seasons.
But even after Snell's great finish last year?
Yeah, I don't care.
All right.
What's my biggest thing with pitchers? What's my biggest thing with pitchers?
Throw no hitters? No, okay. He did throw no hitters. He did that.
Innings.
He did go a little deeper late.
Not for
do you
the
think
money.
Bieber really can though? So I don't know if Bieber.
Well, that's what I'm saying. They're both not long. They don't go and eat innings, but he gives me 2 more years on a contract.
Maybe
That's what I'm saying. And I think I can get
right.
Bieber cheaper than I can Snell.
I think Bieber could get, I was thinking back to the Guardians there.
I hope he ends up in St. Louis. He's not going to, but I would love it. I mean, I know I said, and I was on these guys the whole year last year. I think there's a move coming out of Kansas City for one of these pitchers, man. They got these couple of, they got the Reagans and they got the other young kid. They've got Waka, who's a solid 4 or 5. They need another veteran leader who's going to have some time to sit there for a couple years because of Vinny Pasquantino and Bobby Witt Jr. I think they're going to make a move for another pitcher. I'm not talking to anybody from Kansas City. This is my own personal feeling. I think they make a move for one of these top 6 or 8 pitchers. I don't think it's the top 4 or 5 guys. I think it's probably somewhere between 5 and 8 is one of the guys they try to go get. Do they get him? I don't know. I think Bieber would be a nice fit in Kansas City.
Yeah, I mean, I'd be curious if they go out of pocket like that. They usually just don't, and I would be.
But they've never had a player. They have not had a player like Bobby Witt since Brett George.
Ownership is ownership. Ownership is
I
ownership.
Understand. They invested in Bobby Witt. I'm sure they did not do what the Cardinals did to Arenado and said, we're going to give you the long-term contract. We're going to go and compete. We need to build a team around you. We're going to do it through youth, but this is an opportunity. The pitching market's deep this time around.
It is.
It's an opportunity for them to do something different than what they've done to go and be competitive, which they usually aren't. I think it'd be a missed opportunity if they don't pursue one of these pitchers. That's my defense good.
I agree, and I have a little thing on the Royals here in a little bit that I kind of want to get your thoughts on too with that.
We did no show prep, and I'm hitting everything ahead of schedule. I am so sorry.
No, you're not hitting anything. You're prepping. You're getting everybody ready for it. Sasaki is he's kind of the youngest guy here, and coming on. It sounds like won't sign until at least January 15th, based on what I kind of read there. So we'll see what team. Again, Dodgers are always going to be in play for these teams.
Padres.
Me and you don't know much about them other than just what we saw in the World Baseball Classic, what we see in highlights. So
he's supposed to be better than Yamamoto.
I always am a fan of signing these guys. I say that.
I mean, I'll take a risk on him. I would, but he's supposed to be better than Yamamoto, which Chicago's pitcher that they got.
Oh, Emanada.
Yeah, Emanada. Hey, you said it right. Good job.
Thank you.
If
I had a whole year to get ready.
Yeah, it took you long enough. Roki Sasaki. If he is actually better than Yamamoto, which means he'll be better than Imanaga, and Imanaga, in my opinion, was better than Yamamoto this year.
Oh yeah.
This kid could be a star, an absolute star, and he's young. Sign him for 13 years.
Angels.
And dude, I hope the guy's not that stupid.
Well, Angels, do you get the? I mean, come on, you have a great.
I'm gonna follow Shohei's steps.
Get career there. He's a pitcher. Seattle. I like. I'll see what
I can see that.
But
even though they don't need pitching, they need hit. They need bats.
No, Seattle's really they're kind of out of it a little bit. I want to rip on them one of these shows in the winter. We'll see what happens with them. What do you think of Evaldi? At 35, he declined. He had a 20-year. Is it $21 million he could have got this year? He declined it. Became a free agent. So he obviously believes in himself enough to get a 2-year deal.
I did not hear this. I am shocked.
So he did, like there was only, 15 guys, 14 guys? I think there's 15 qualifying offer guys, and 14 of them declined it. One of them, Nick Martinez, accepted it with the Reds. So I believe that Evaldi, again, thinks he can get a 2-year deal. I seem to believe he can. His numbers aren't unreal. They're just steady Eddie. You know what you're going to get from him. He's not even a workhorse, really. Like he's kind of one of those interesting guys to me that I just feel like he had that. He's had a few really good playoff runs, and that helps. And he throws hard, and he's really good in those. But for a whole season, sometimes it's almost like you just better hope he's ready to go by August 15th, and your team's still in it. Like that's kind of how I feel sometimes with him. And so I wouldn't feel really good about signing him to a 2-year deal.
I'd give him, and he declined a $20 million investing option. I would do like 2 at 12 a year.
That's what I mean. But you got to admit, these guys they're going to get more money than that, Josh. Like
he's old.
No, he's 35. I mean, Verlander's still like 42 pitch. I mean, Evaldi throws strikes. He does that. Like I said, he's 5th straight year with a sub-4 ERA. So you know what you're getting from him.
He's Mr. Consistent. I mean, I would take him on the Cardinals. Like, I would gladly drop Miles Michaelis off on the side of the road and put Nathan Eovaldi in our rotation.
Hey, randomly, do you remember Chris Davis for the Brewers? And then he played for the A's. He was a really good home run hitter. And okay, yep. Remember the funniest stat where he went like 3 straight years hitting 247? It was like it's like the most random. Like I'm like, how do you do that 3 straight years at 240? Like I think that's what it was. It was something like random. Actually, it might be less than that. I'm actually kind of surprised I said 247, but I feel like that's the number that kind of pops out to my head with that one. So I don't know. Eovaldi's going to be kind of an interesting one for me a little bit, Josh. Here's the guy you mentioned a little earlier, Jack Flaherty. 29. Yeah, he's kind of been up and down most of his career. I would say that he had high expectations. He
was supposed to be
he lived up to him early, and then he faded, and that sometimes happens with pitchers. And now he's 29. You would think he'd be entering his prime in terms of stuff, right? In terms of knowledge of the game. Would you feel comfortable giving him a 4-year, $150 million deal as a starting pitcher? So you don't see that being the case. 4-year, 120.
Somebody will, but I know he's not worth it.
So I still think he can be pretty good.
Do you not remember during the playoffs? I literally predicted what he was going to do before every game he pitched.
Yeah. You did.
The dude is inconsistent as hell. So he may give you 5 good games in a row, but when the light shines, as Reggie Miller did to Spike Lee.
This guy's a World Series champion, and you are disrespecting Mr.
No, he was on a World Series champion team.
How dare you disrespect Mr. Flaherty? And this is just because he was a Cardinal.
I don't care. I mean, dude had potential to be it.
I think that you are a bitter Cardinals fan. I think that's what we're about here. I'm just messing with you.
I am not bitter. I'm mad that the dude couldn't get out of his own head.
It's funny he went from Detroit.
He was the bomb. He was it. He's got the velocity. He's got the movement. He's got the control. He's got that mentality of a dog when he's on the mound. Like everything I want in a pitcher. But he's a head case. I don't want him.
I mean, 3.48 ERA this year. He had 3.12 with Detroit, 4.16 with the Dodgers. So a little bit, obviously a little higher with the National League. Had some decent starts in the postseason. Who would you rather have, Flaherty or my last guy here, Sean Manaea? Who would you rather have? Would you rather have Sean coming from the left side underneath a little bit? Kind of really turned it on. You talk about a guy I didn't believe in last year. The way you're talking about Jack Flaherty is the way I was talking about Sean Manaea because I saw him with the A's, I saw him with the Giants. I was like, this guy sucks. I mean, he's done. And then CP, they sign him, and CP's like, obviously he's like, yeah, I believe in him. I got him. He's going to be the best. I go, I'm sorry, man. This guy's going to stink for you. And all of a sudden, he kind of like figures out a few things, and now he's kind of it seemed like he was kind of figured maybe out some things. So that's kind of how I'm just comparing it there. So who would you rather have?
Over Manaea.
All right, because of the fastball, the heat,
the age.
Well, that's it. How about for just 1 year next year? Who are you taking?
Flaherty.
All right, so you still believe in Flaherty?
I know he'll give me 15 good games. I also have to know that he's probably going to give me 10 bad games and 5 mediocre games.
Do you think the Mets should resign Manaea?
Absolutely.
So I think so too. I think he's the type of
there.
Guy. Yep. I agree.
That's the thing. I think he's good there. I never thought
Manaea
was a bad pitcher. I mean,
no, he's never been bad. He's just been really inconsistent. Really.
Exactly. But he found somewhere where he was exceptional for him.
Yep.
Last year. If I have an opportunity to stay where I was at, where I'm comfortable, and I'm doing it in the Big Apple, why not?
Yeah, no, I'm with you. So you would take Flaherty though over him in last year. I agree. Manaea though, maybe he's figured out that little lefty kind of angle there. It's a little tough on hitters. He pitched pretty well in the postseason.
Better.
So just to kind of give a recap, we talked about Burns, we talked about Snell, Fried, gave a little Sasaki update. Bieber we talked about as well. We hit on Eovaldi, Flaherty, and Manaea. So those are just some of the names. There's more out there, but I didn't want to kill us with it today. I know we're going to get into it more, but I feel like those are some of the interesting names. Any kind of thoughts on those?
Oh, I want to back up for a second.
Yeah.
I got this Chris Davis stuff up, and I'm looking. You said his average was 247 like 3 years in a row?
Maybe it was 2.
I'm just looking for it. He went 250, 276, 270, 286 4 years in a row.
That's not the
262,
same.
221, 215, 168, 179, 150 at the end of his career.
I figured it out.
We're talking about the Chris Davis that started in Texas, went to Baltimore.
Nope, not that one. We're talking
Wrong
about
Chris Davis.
We're talking about the one that played for the A's.
That's what I thought you
And
said.
played
I
for
was
the
like,
Brewers. Yeah, so he went. I'm looking up his stats right now. The batting average. Yeah, he went. So in 2015, he went 247. 2016, he went 247. In 2017, he went 247. And in 2018, he went 247. So 4 straight consecutive years, this man hit 247.
Hold on.
Pretty
How do you
incredible.
spell his name? Because I am in Baseball Reference and it is not pulling this guy out.
Starts with a K.
K-R-I-S?
Khris, Chris Davis. And so
That's
he's
the
really
problem. I had the wrong Chris Davis. I was like, hold on.
yes, he did. No. This guy, he hit 247 straight, 4 straight years. That's kind of one of my random.
Oh shoot, he sure did.
Good little trivia question there. Got him from the Brewers there in the trade.
You would have killed me for
that.
For a trivia question, I would have died.
Yeah, we didn't want to do that with you. We'll set you up. Hey, just a little quick look at the MLB award winners. We had Paul Skeens obviously win rookie of the year. That was the big name. We had Pat Murphy, the Brewers manager. Stephen Vogt win manager of the year. We're getting closer to the MVP and all that stuff as well in terms of who's going to be available for awards. So this is award season, Josh. We're starting to get close to it today. Skubal won the Cy Young. Chris Sale won the Cy Young as well. Do you think this puts Chris Sale in the Hall of Fame? Do you think this is enough? I think we talked about this a little earlier. No, it's not enough. Okay.
I think he needs a little bit more. I think this puts him in the conversation. Like solidifies him in the conversation where it's an honest debate. Should he or should he not be in? And there's legitimacy on both sides. I think he needs something else to secure a spot. Like he needs a World Series MVP or he needs something like that. He needs something of that magnitude, in my opinion, to secure it.
It'll be interesting what here. The MVPs are kind of guaranteed, so I think we're going to get there. The Cy Young, kind of not the best year for awards. I feel like they were kind of obvious this year, I felt like. So not too exciting there with it. But what kind of is it? Or you got a thought there, Josh, with it before I move on?
I was just going to say, I just didn't. I thought the awards were misappropriated this year.
Well, it just wasn't. It was kind of obvious with Ohtani, so it just kind of felt heavyweight there in some areas, and so a little less drama in that area this year. I got at the bottom here. Which first-time Hall of Fame eligible players would not make the 5% cut to stay on the ballot? So you got to get 5% of the vote to stay on the ballot. Now, I just want to give you an idea here. Carlos Delgado had 444 home runs. He did not make it past the first ballot. We had Jorge Posada, one of the best catchers in our probably lifetime, did not make it past first vote ballot. He's off the Hall of Fame ballot. Bernie Williams is off it. So you have great players that do not make it past the first ballot. And so for me in doing this, I just kind of want to bring up a few names. Some will make it past it, but just for me and you, just to acknowledge that these guys were still hell of a players. That's like Matt Holliday didn't make it. Like he's a great player, right? But first time did not make it past. I mean, I think I heard Sean Casey the other day on a show. He was the ex-first baseman for the Reds there. He said he has a framed picture of him on the Hall of Fame ballot. He knew he was going to be eliminated after the first time, but he said like for him it was just special to even be on the ballot because some guys aren't even good enough to even make the ballot. So I think it's kind of a weird thing to look at. But I have some names here at the bottom that were really good players that had a really good WAR, and they're just not going to get in and not just get in. A lot of these guys won't make it. Like Carlos Delgado didn't even get 5% of the vote. That's crazy.
I'm kind of surprised by that.
I mean, this year it seems like the automatics from this group. Just talking the newcomers. We'll get into more in January with Billy Wagner and all those guys. I don't want to touch on that as much. There. That's what I mean because I'm not a fan of Billy making it. So we'll get into that in January more. But just for the first time at Hall of Fame eligible, and the guys that maybe won't make that list, those are some names. You're going to have Sabathia and Eacher. He'll probably be first-time Hall of Famers in that group. I got the WAR here. Like, does Dustin Pedroia, does he get 5% of the vote? He was a great player. He had a 51.9 WAR. Like, he won an MVP. Like, it's hard to believe that this guy wouldn't be
I
on.
mean, personally, I think he should get through. I mean,
I think
stay
he
on the
will.
ballot.
I
I think
think
he
he'll
should
get
stay
more
on the
than
ballot.
You think he gets more than 5% then?
I just don't know, man. Like,
I think he does.
I feel like they let too many guys in nowadays, and
They don't let enough in baseball. Baseball, it's harsh. I feel like baseball is the one that least keeps it tough. I mean, basketball.
yeah.
You're describing basketball Hall of Fame. That's how
I don't even count basketball anymore, man. Like
Well,
pro basketball is not even a sport to me anymore.
Well, how dare you say it? My Warriors are 10-3 playing the Hawks tonight. So no, but I hear you. But Pedroia, little PD. I mean, like, these are the type of players. And then I got some other ones. Ben Zobrist. Not saying he's gonna make it, but like, I mean, WAR 40, like, pretty good player. Troy
Dude, he was the original utility guy.
How about Troy Tulowitzki? He's one of the best shortstops in the league for a little bit.
I don't know how he doesn't get through.
But I don't think he will. I bet he gets less than 5%. If Matt Holliday didn't get it, why would he get more?
That's what I'm saying. Like, if Matt Holliday can't get it, then all the guys on the bottom won't get it.
The Jorge Posada one was shocking to me too. You got
Hanley. Horrible that he didn't get through.
He didn't make it. Hanley Ramirez is on the list as well. Brian McCann is on the list. Like, these are some guys. It's a little smaller, but and Curtis Granderson. And it'll be interesting to see where he lies with this as well. It's like Adam Jones. These were like, these are legit players that were in MLB that are probably not going to be able to make it. Who's the guy that always wore the hat to the side a little bit? Fernando Rodney. He was a good closer as well. So I don't know. Adam Jones. These are all-star players, Josh, and not all these guys are going to make it past this list. There'll be a few.
All-stars are not Hall of Famers.
No, it's not. But I just want to acknowledge that they had great careers, and it doesn't take away. It doesn't take away from where it is, but it'll be interesting which ones will make it past the 5%. Like, it'll just be interesting to see which ones kind of will get another chance to be on the ballot again next year. It doesn't mean they'll make it, but I think for them, even that's probably a special thing for some of these guys that know they're not Hall of Famers. But, like, you know what I mean? Like, you're not a Hall of Famer. Like, if I was, let's say, Adam Jones, right, a center fielder for the Orioles, if I could make it 3 rounds or whatever, something like that, to be on the ballot, that'd be pretty cool to me. Like,
absolutely.
So I'm just saying that's where I'd be curious where he's at with it. I
mean, on a personal note, to be mentioned amongst Hall of Famers, that enough for me would be that on a personal. I'd die happy, man, with my career.
The one
just to be mentioned amongst guys like Babe Ruth.
Oh God, dude! Just to be. How could you not be excited to have your name there with it? Like, I mean, the guy though for me is Ian Kinsler. Do you think not saying he'll make the 5% cut, but do you think he eventually gets in? He's kind of a weird one to me.
I don't think so.
Nah, yeah, he's a weird one for me. He is. He's an odd one, like, because he was a great player. He really was, and like. A lot of these guys were like Curtis Granderson, like his numbers are great, but like I never thought of him. When I watched him. Yeah, but I mean, you look at his WAR; it's right up there with these guys, right up there.
So, are we doing it just off WAR now?
No, but that's a big thing. I think that's a big number. I think that's acknowledged as a pretty solid number. But then you also look at him; he led the league in triples. He had over 300, maybe close to 400 home runs. He batted leadoff. He had, I'm just saying, like, as his stats aren't poo-poo. And so that's my point is like he is a good player and he's not going to make the Hall of Fame. It's just kind of funny how some of these guys don't make it. Like if Carlos Delgado could not make it past the first ballot, there's no way Curtis Granderson should make it past. That's my point with some of these things. So like Delgado, I looked at as this guy could be a Hall of Fame player and he didn't even make it past the first one. Posada, I looked at it like that. Bernie Williams, I looked at it like that. So
I'm shocked that Posada didn't make it.
Past the first vote, that's crazy, huh?
That one blows my mind. Like, that's why I'm just sitting there going, how are they picking guys now?
It's interesting how we do it.
It makes me worry about Albert.
Albert will get in. He's a first timer. Maybe Molina, he'll get into first timer. Like I don't hate it. Like Joe Mauer to me never really was a first timer, but he got in, and that's the bottom line is he got in. So that's the big deal.
That's the bottom line.
And that's all that matters there, folks. He got in there. All right, let's cut to it. We got my guy Peter here. Let's get to it. Again, Variety Sports Network. We're here with you, seventh inning stretch. Appreciate you tuning in here on a Wednesday night. Me and Josh just kind of wanted to, like you said,
Hey, if you're watching, get in the chats and let us know who's here. We got a lot of loyal people who come on like every week, but we know we've been off for a couple weeks. Taking a little break, resetting. If you're out there, say hi. We miss you,
Josh. That's one thing we got to get better. We got to invite people a little bit more. We can do that more as the season goes on. We'll invite them into the chat a little bit too with it. But if you're right, let us know if you're here with it. Always makes the show a little bit better. Got 22 people in here.
Batters there. Is CP out there? Where's Susie?
Susie, are you out there? We need her. Diamond Notes here with it. Like I mentioned kind of the Hall of Fame bout there. You mentioned your Royals a little bit there with the trade. The Reds and Royals have been discussing in India for a Singer trade. What do you make of that? That would be, to me, that's kind of a very good, like an old school baseball trade a little bit. A little pitching for a little hitting. I like the idea of that trade. I think that would be a great move for the Royals.
I don't like the move for the Royals. I like the move for the Reds. I think Jonathan. Yeah, I don't want the Royals. The Royals do not need to give up the pitching they have. They need to add to the pitching. So, but Jonathan India was a Cardinal killer when he came into the league. He is a hell of an athlete. He's a very good ball player. He's one of the few Reds I really respect because I think he plays the game right.
So you wouldn't do the trade though. Singer is really inconsistent for me.
I know, but he's young.
But to have Witt and India up the middle, it's tough.
I think you can find another second baseman.
All right.
Now, if you wanted to say Singer for,
I just don't know if I believe in Singer as much as that.
Yeah, but the potential's there.
You don't think India's just going to stay consistent? He's young still.
A lot of injury issues.
All right. He's an everyday player though, right?
He is, and he's a baller. He's a gamer. He can steal. He can play defense. I mean, he's pretty good at the plate.
Just the idea of him and Witt up the middle, two gamers up the middle, Josh. That was.
Could you have the best double play in the MLB? That's the question. Is that what that gives you?
I don't know if it gives you the best defense. I know it gives you some. I just know it gives you a good middle of the line. If it gives you a good defensive line, it gives you pesky.
I needed to give me the best double play turning duo in the MLB.
So you look at Singer as somebody that can really come on then as an all-star.
I look at I think he's young and I think he's got time to grow. Like if he was, how old is Singer?
24, 25 probably.
Yeah, like I was gonna say, I thought he was younger than 25. Pitchers don't typically find. Paul Skeens is an outlier. Pitchers don't find it until they're 25 or 26.
I was way off. He's 28.
Oh, is he? God, he doesn't look that old.
He's born 1996.
Okay, maybe that changes my opinion a little bit. Because I thought he was like 24.
He's 28. 27 is India.
Okay, I just changed my mind. I'll do the deal.
Let's go. I got it. I got Josh to change his mind. Let's go to work, everybody. Let's go. Logan, if you're out there.
He needed more time to develop.
Logan, if you're out there, be proud of you for a minute.
Only you can get me to flip.
I should let Doug know. We should let Doug know. We should make that as one of our seventh inning. I was thinking for like segments go to next year, like poll questions. Like
Down.
All right, we'll keep it PG for this. I won't go there with my other thought, but we'll go. That was our poll question. Then we'll go India and Singer. Who would you rather have in the deal there? So we have that as well. And then I'm hearing the Red Sox sneaky contenders for Soto. I mean, I just feel like it would be just a deal to drive the price up a little bit.
Yeah, that's all it is.
Yeah,
that's all it is. Like, there's no way he's going to Boston.
Kind of the same way. Hey, we talked about Zach Wheeler. Is he?
Not yet.
Look at this. He leads the majors in WAR though over the last 7 seasons. As I keep bringing up big WAR for you, that does matter as a pitcher. That's 7 seasons. That's not one season. That's 7 straight seasons.
How many Cy Youngs does he have?
0.
And then no.
How many World Series does he have? How many Cy Youngs does Nolan Ryan have though? 0. You get my point.
He's not Nolan Ryan.
No, nobody on earth is Nolan Ryan. He's like, everybody's like, well, Nolan Ryan did this. I'm like, well, Nolan Ryan's a freak. Like, that's just not happening. Like, no, but you got to admit, like, there's other good. He's probably the best guy now to not win the Cy Young out there. I would say by far, and he's been very good for the last 7 years. I don't know. You don't think he can be a Hall of Famer?
No.
To me, it's no because you said sales no. You said sales no. So if sales no, it can't be Wheeler. Yes.
Yeah, but if the Phillies go and win 2 World Series in the next 3 years and he's the ace on it, that changes everything.
Yeah, but what if he's not the ace and he wins 2 World Series? But he had this record to go with it.
But if he leads them in the majors in WAR for another 3 straight seasons, and he's not the MVP or the Cy Young winner, but he's the number 1 or number 2 pitcher for World Series champions 2 out of 3 years, I would say that gives him the edge. I mean, that's what I'm saying Sale needs. Basically, I'm just saying Sale needs one thing. I think Wheeler needs a couple.
Yeah, no,
right now, no, he's not a Hall of Famer. Could he be by the end of his career? Possibly. That's where I'm at.
All right, I got you. He's only 2-time All-Star. I get you. He's there with it, so he's got a little ways to go. Is Walker Buehler worth re-signing? Buehler is just 30 years old. Could be high upside here, Josh. Closed out the World Series. He's kind of – I know there's a lot of things, like you said, money and all that. Well, let's kind of we're in pretend world here for a little bit, right? So, let's just pretend you have the money. Like, is this somebody you're –
All right, Walker, how much you want and how long you want it for?
Like, let's say you're a team like the let me give you an example of a team. Let's say you're a team
let's just play this out.
The Padres. Would you sign him?
It depends. Walker, how many years do you want and how much money you want a year?
He probably wants 3 years, 25 to 30 million a year.
How about this? I'll give you 4 at 22 and a half a year. And I'll give you an opt for a 5th year at 30.
So you give him a little less than 100.
Give him a little less than 100 by giving an option for a 5th year at 30 mil.
I think he might be on your team then. I think that'd be something he might be worth signing there. You give him that 4th year. I think the 4th year is going to be hard for him to get. I think the 3rd year I think 3 years is probably up. I mean, he's been hurt a ton.
Right.
So,
that's true. I mean, there'd have to be some clauses in there.
It almost. I'd be curious what the Dodgers do. Like, are the Dodgers giving up on him?
I mean, can they give up on him after he just
because they can't sign if they're getting Soto? I mean, they're with everybody right here, right? So it's not like they can't sign everybody. So these would be the type of guys they would let go. These would be the type of guys they would let.
So where would you see Buehler ending up?
Man, it's a tough call for me. I honestly think the Padres.
You really think the Padres?
I think the Padres would try to. They're a middle finger type franchise. It feels like towards the Dodgers.
Milwaukee.
No, they're not. Are they Milwaukee even going to sign anybody? They're thinking about trading their best closer. That gave up the lead to the Mets, but
I'm saying they might have reason to give.
He did blow the series to the Mets, so maybe there's.
And I love Devin Williams.
He did.
I think he's a fantastic ball player. I would be happy to have him on my roster.
Me too.
But I mean, if they're going to shed something, they're going to need to pick something up. If Buehler just showed he can close, maybe you don't sign him as a starting pitcher. Maybe you transition him right now as a closer, and then you do give him a 5 or a 6 year deal at $20 million a year. He gets his money. He doesn't have to pitch as much, so that saves him a little bit. And then maybe he's more durable, and maybe he ends up being a 2-inning closer instead of a 3-out guy. And that saves other parts of your bullpen.
It'll be interesting what they do there. I mean, I know we'll be diving into that a little bit more as we hit December too, like that kind of talk a little bit with Devin Williams. But Brewers, I don't hate that, but I just don't see them making a deal like that. I was thinking also the team we started out the whole podcast with is the Orioles. I was thinking that would be like kind of a cheaper, like, you know what I mean? Like, get rid of Burns, but we're going to sign this guy a little cheaper that's been injury prone, but he's got high upside. Like, that's kind of like where I could see that. But that's where I could see them kind of leaning towards a little bit more than maybe re-signing Burns for $200 million or something like that. Right. That's kind of where I could see them making a move. This is a tough one for you. So if you can't think of it, this is just, what do you think of? Who's the best one-hit wonder in your MLB? Like, is there one guy you're like, this guy had one good year and we never heard from his soul absolutely again? Like, I
can give you like 5 Cardinals.
Well, I don't care who it is. Yeah, you give me whoever you have with it.
Well, Stephen Piscotty, Bo Hart. So JD Drew wasn't a one-hit wonder. He just never lived up to the hype.
JD who?
There's JD Drew.
Yeah.
Cardinals drafted him number 5 overall in like 97. He was with the team for a good amount of years, and then they traded him to. They traded JD Drew for Adam Wainwright.
Yeah, he was good. He was definitely a good one as well.
But he was supposed to be a superstar, and it just never quite panned out. And he was always good. He was a great all-star, but he just never. He was supposed to be like it.
No, do you remember Zach Cozart on the Reds?
Yeah.
I thought he had kind of that one like massive year. I thought he was going to be one. Does R.A. Dickey count? I feel like he maybe had a couple, so I can't get on this case.
Yeah, that doesn't count.
I felt like he kind of had a couple right there with it, or at least he had the one dominant year. Ricky Romero, you remember him? He was a starting pitcher. That's one I said. Joe Panic. I'm sorry, Giants fans. He's somebody I think about as well as like just kind of came on, like had that one good year. I know a lot of Giants fans would probably feel differently than I. And then to me, it's Ubaldo Jimenez for the Rockies. He had that one massive year as a good starter with the with the Rockies, and he couldn't turn it on. So kind of a tricky one there, yeah, but a little bit MLB history there with some guys. A little
different though. That was something we haven't done before. Like one hit one. I was like, yeah, that's a good question.
Jack Cust. You probably don't remember that name, but he was a guy on the A's that hit 30 home runs in one year. And like, yeah, you're right. He's a lefty like Jack, and he's like, I think I shown a video one time of a guy. He was on the Orioles at the time, but he was rounding third and he fell down. He was going to be the tying run at home plate. Okay,
yes, I remember you showing me that video.
Well, he eventually hit 30 home runs for the A's like a couple of years later, one random year. And so me and my brother would always we're like, and Jack, you can bust. Not, we had like he had this like total softball swing. So he was a great kind of guy that he was good with that. So we had that with it.
I wouldn't be able to deal with that.
No, you would not. All right, Josh. MLB trivia here. I'm with that. I think I'm gonna try to help you out with it. So here we go. I think you can do this tonight. I played from 1998 to 2013. I was the third pitcher to win a Cy Young in both leagues, as well as start an all-star game for both leagues.
Oh, well, everybody would already have this one. Hold on. All right. 98, 2013.
I got a couple more softballs for you.
Oh. So it's not Josh Beckett. It's not Pedro Martinez.
It's not Pedro.
Hold on. Let me keep thinking. It's not Kurt Schilling.
I can go hit number 2 just to.
No. Hold on. You were like the prime of my childhood right here when I paid attention to baseball.
Well, hopefully you're paying attention now. I got you.
Well, I took that gap when I got into football and basically been on for 10 years. All right, give me the next one.
I was an 8-time All-Star, 2-time Cy Young Award winner. And then I can also give you number 3 if you want here.
Yeah, go ahead and give it to me.
Hit number 3. Let me get this real quick. I don't want to give it away. Pitched 20th perfect game in MLB history against the Florida Marlins, retiring all 27 batters and striking out 11.
Okay, so I was way off when I said Josh Beckett. Hold on. Okay. 2010, 20th perfect game against the Marlins.
He also threw one in the postseason, a no-hitter. He played in the NL East. He played in the AL East.
That might be part of my problem.
His nickname was the Doc.
The Duck?
The Doc.
The Doc?
Doc. D-O-C.
Give it to me. I'm off, man. You're going to say it. I'm going to know who it is, but who is it?
Yes, you are. Mr. Roy Halladay.
Oh, no way.
Is your answer. Remember through the
Hold on, who did he pitch for in 2010? Was he with the Phillies then?
Yep, pitched for the Phillies, and threw a perfect game here. This is some of his perfect game highlights against the Marlins. One of the best to ever do it. Was a Hall of Famer. He, as you know, maybe you don't know, he did pass away a while ago in the plane accident. So as he was flying the plane there, but just one of the best to ever. I do remember that. Yep, he was good, man. Killer. Oh, he was everybody's killer. He was as good as it gets. He was he had like 5 pitches. 4 of them were like A+ pitches, and then the 5th one was basically a B- pitch, was pretty damn good. So I mean, he had everything cooking. back then. Here's the final out here of the no-hitter. Gets it done. Or the perfect game, not no-hitter, excuse me. But he did throw a no-hitter against the I believe it's the Reds. I want to say it was the Reds he threw a no-hitter against
in the playoffs,
in the postseason, in the first round. Pretty sure he threw a no-hitter. I know he threw a no-hitter.
I can't remember the last time the Reds were in the playoff.
Well, it was a while ago. 2012. Well, they lost to the Giants. Remember 2012 or 14? 100 Posey hits. They were up 2-0 on the Giants, and the Giants won 3 straight with Posey's home run off Matt Latos in Game 5 to get the job done over there for him. So
your memory when it comes to baseball is absolutely sickening, man. I wish I had that.
I'm sorry. I have a sick gift for these type.
I appreciate that you do. It's better because you do.
These type of things. I spend a lot of time listening to. We did a show this week on Fat Boy Fadeaway on local radio, and I'd be listening to radio all day. Like that's what I would do.
I saw that episode.
Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate you listening to that. Hopefully you enjoyed it as well.
It was good. Well, I mean, the topic kind of caught my mind. I was like, hold on, I'm gonna try to listen to this while I'm at work.
Well, it was kind of reminding me of what you were saying when your guys let go. Was it the morning guy or the afternoon guy?
Yeah, no, it's the morning guy, Randy Carricker.
I mean, I'm a fan of local radio. So
I love local radio.
I mean, honestly, they're attached to the teams though. So was the team? Well, who was the guy's name that they let go again? Carrier.
Randy Carricker and Dan McLaughlin.
Was that radio?
Go with Brooke Shields.
Was that radio station the same one that the Cardinals play games on?
Nope.
Blues?
It's ESPN. The Blues play there.
Okay, so you guys do have a couple that you have there. Oh, appreciate it. We got a little comment in here, right? There you go. Flea Market Floppy Disco.
I love the name.
Phil Humber's perfect game. Yeah, that was pretty. That was a pretty good one as well. Who would have thought that would have got that? As well.
Ever.
All right, so Josh, I'm a little disappointed. I thought you were going to be able to get that one. So,
you know what?
I thought
I should have had that one. That is horrible on my part. I apologize whoever I insulted.
Where did Josh go? Where did Josh go wrong this week? I can rip on him a little bit this way.
Fair enough.
All right, here we go. Flashback.
What a ride! The Cardinals are world champs in 2011.
All right, here's a video I thought was fun. We'll go to your Cardinals days here.
Yeah, I was like, that's Ozzy.
I thought it was kind of funny, a little Ozzy stuff. Yeah.
Ozzy has maintained his childlike enthusiasm for the game.
I like to sit around and watch teams take infield. And this guy caught the ball, and it was as if it never touched his glove, and he flips to first base. And I took a double take, and I said, wow, how did he do that? And I yelled to him, I said, do that again. He does it again, and it looks as if it never touched the glove. So quite naturally, that intrigued me. So it was at that point that I started trying to learn how to do it. And actually, what it is, it's really dealing with angles, having a good angle to where the ball hits the heel of your glove right here, and it just bounces into the other hand. It gives you the illusion of it never really touching the glove.
Well, I would say, Josh, that's as good as it gets. I think you'd appreciate that one, but I thought it was fun kind of bringing that back off-season style here a little bit.
So he still
angles, baby. All about those angles, Josh. All about those angles.
He runs a camp a couple times a year for youth and teenagers where he actually gets the kids can sign up, and they go and they run it. It's usually at Busch or somewhere near Busch, and they get one-on-one instruction.
We'll be back with you the first week of December, Floppy. If you want to join us after Thanksgiving, I'll be with you.
You can always come back, Floppy.
Appreciate you too. Go ahead, Josh.
But he runs a camp. He still is out there working with kids. He is still continuing to try to grow the sport with young people to keep the sport alive. You could watch him in an interview now, and he still has that same joy in the way he speaks about the game. It's never left him. Ozzie Smith, and this is probably why I love defense. I don't care what anybody says about Ozzie Smith. He is one of the greatest ambassadors ever for Major League Baseball.
He really was. I always liked everything about him. I love watching old All-Star games. It's one of my favorite things. And one of them is he's been on there forever. I'd say Dallas Braden. Yeah, Dallas Braden definitely is an ace for one-hit wonder. That's a great call right there. He's got an announcer job because of it. Ozzie Smith did it. Yeah, I love Ozzie Smith. He's done some great stuff. It's always interesting hearing me The only time I've heard him frustrated is when talking about Tony La Russa a little bit at times, because I know he didn't like the way that ended with him, and he ended up retiring shortly there with it. What a later. I just thought that was kind of a cool video. It kind of summed up his. It was funny for me. My cousin graduated from Cal Poly out here, and that's where he went to high school or to college with Cal Poly, which is about a 4-hour drive from me here. It's about the middle of California, and I went to my cousin's graduation 14 years ago, probably longer than that, probably now, and who was speaking at it? Ozzie Smith. So it was pretty cool to have him. I was kind of like, oh, that's Ozzie Smith speaking at the graduation. So it was kind of cool to kind of think about that at Cal Poly with him, and so he's always kind of been kind of one of those fan favorites here along the way with it. But Josh, you know what also is kind of cool to me? Me and you have not done the show in two weeks, and we're just chit chatting, and we're up to 58 minutes of the show, and that tells you me and you can talk baseball for a while. So we're gonna do this. We'll probably do it again in a couple weeks here, but that's probably gonna be our schedule here for a little bit. Probably
unless Toto signs, then obviously we'll be back to cover. So.
It'll probably be every other, maybe December. We might go straight weeks if there's some good off-season stuff, but then we'll obviously take some breaks around Christmas as well. So every show has its different views, and I know we have our fan base here, and I just want to say thank you to anybody that tunes in. Me and Josh are doing the best we can. I know Saffel's going to be hopefully a big part of the show next year as well, tuning in with the producer role of things during the show. So I look forward to that as well. But Josh, good getting back on the mic with you, my friend.
Yeah, man, it was good to finally talk to you again. I know we kind of took a break from each other there for basically. I mean, we've been in the text, but we have not physically spoken to each other.
Baseball's a long season, man. It's a long season. It's a long
golly, I need to not talk about baseball. I mean, seriously. Okay, so let's recap. Since the World Series ended, how much have you walked away from sports at all and given yourself a break, or did you just immediately jump into basketball and football? I mean, you were doing football while we were doing baseball anyways, but.
You know what? It's funny. I've actually kind of stayed with baseball a little bit more than I thought I would. I've enjoyed the off-season stuff like Logan has, and like he was kind of got me into it. I love it. It's my favorite sport. I always felt, and I enjoy the basketball, of course. With my Warriors are off to a good start there too.
Sorry
but
for your loss,
for me, for me, football, I like doing the stuff on Sunday, watching that. But remember, Josh, I'm a fan of one of the worst franchises on earth. So for that can only go so far in terms of enjoyment. So
aren't you switching to Pittsburgh?
No, we're not. Oh, good God, I would never switch to the Steelers after being a Raiders fan. That'd be huge. My dad would kill me if
I meant Oakland. I meant from the A's to the Pirates.
All right, Dad. Well, the Pirates are still there. Me and my brother kind of, I don't know if you heard me on the pod. I was like, we might get tomatoes thrown at us if we're wearing A's hats. Like, who knows where that goes next year? Me and him have to figure that out. We won't be going to Sacramento games, but it's hard to. I mean, that's going to be a whole. Me and you will have a conversation about that.
We're going to have to.
We're going to have to. We're going to have to work through my feelings at that point.
I've been there, man. I will help you get you through it.
My dad sent me and my brother a text the other day saying, like, it was like a picture of like the new A's stadium or the one in Sacramento, basically. And it was like tickets are like cheapest ones, like $300. I was like, me and Casey were like, we could go there last year for $7. Like, it was insane. Like, it's insane how like different it's going to be. So,
well, the Arizona Coyotes did the same thing.
Yeah.
They went and played at ASU Stadium. They ran the prices up because they had to make enough money and they only had like 6,000 seats.
Yeah.
So it was stupid priced. And they couldn't figure it out. Now they're in Utah.
It's always one of those age-old questions. Is it worth raising the prices if you have less people? I would say no. So we'll see. That always works out the same way.
I got one more thing. I thought you'd bring it up and you didn't.
All right, give it to
me. I thought it was going to come up because it was alluded to in the scroller. Tampa Bay. Their stadium is not going to be done until roughly 2028, right? Did you see the rumor? I saw break, I think I saw it Saturday or Sunday morning, that there is a push internally to move them to Nashville.
God, please don't.
Yeah, and we talked about a team going to Nashville and how that would be the right market.
How can you kick a team out of Oakland and then move a team to Nashville? I don't get that. It doesn't make sense.
I just wanted to ask. I didn't know if you heard about it. I just wanted to see if you had.
I've heard. I did hear something where I want to play it for you next week if we have a couple weeks if we have a slow week. Is I saw some stuff with the Rays going down a little bit with their new stadium. I heard there was some. What was the guy that was kind of the main behind it wasn't too happy with some stuff there, and he made public comments today about it. So I'd be interested. I hear you. I think Nashville is it's what do you call it? It's almost like a big city in the middle. It's almost, you know what I mean, in the
it's
Midwest.
replaced Chicago.
Yeah, it kind of has a little bit in there because you've got a lot of people moving there. So I think eventually they will probably get one. But man, it's just disappointing to take one away from something
The
like
Nashville
Oakland.
Rays.
Yeah, but Oakland has 6. It's just frustrating that you have somewhere that's 58 years and you just rip it out of that and put it in something like that. I don't know. It just doesn't make sense to me, and it doesn't sit well with me in that regard. But somehow I'm still here doing a show with you because I love baseball, and I don't know. I think the Rays are a different story too. They have the deal down, but they're going to be playing in a minor league stadium next year, which probably helps the A's feel better about playing in a minor league stadium next year too. So probably in some ways it helped them overall with that too. So, but yeah, no, I thought a good show, Josh, tonight, and it was fun doing it with you, man, friend. Good doing a little baseball here again. Hopefully we'll get Logan on. I know Tyler said he would have joined, but his dad turned 70 today. So obviously,
happy birthday, Mr. McGurk.
Yeah, we're not having Tyler joining on number 70. So hopefully he'll be with us here in a couple weeks. Maybe we could talk a little bit about Snell and if he signs with the Giants then as well. So hopefully for me and Josh, we'll probably be with you probably the Thursday after or the Wednesday after Thanksgiving. We're definitely taking next week off. Hopefully everybody here enjoys a good Thanksgiving as well. Edwards, you're one of the best in the business. I appreciate you, man.
I appreciate that, sir.
Very grateful for you, man. Hopefully you and your family get some rest and you have a good Thanksgiving.
Oh, you too, my guy. You too. Are you doing deep fried turkey, oven roast turkey, or smoking it?
We're smoking it. That's what I did.
Yeah.
We're smoking the
I don't
turkey.
even know how we're doing ours yet.
We're doing that. My mom's gonna hit the sides up, so we're gonna be good. We're gonna be in good shape come Thursday. A little football. Sorry for you, guys that have to watch the Cowboys in the afternoon. So just watch the Lions in the morning. You get some entertainment there Thursday morning.
God, the Lions. My God, the Lions.
Tune in, Talk of the Gridiron. We talked it last week. We
Absolutely.
had a good.
I've been waiting for an invite.
Join the show, Josh. Now that we get a little break, hopefully down with NASCAR, you'll be able to jump on.
Yeah, I've had no NASCAR on Sunday. You know, I'm not gonna lie. Last 2 weeks, no shows.
You've enjoyed it.
Spent a lot of time with my wife and my kids. It's been awesome.
Join in for a couple of weeks on a Sunday.
What time?
Join in, talk a little.
What time is it Sundays?
We usually go about 7, 8. Usually 8 your time, 8:30.
Yeah.
So
I'm sure I can do that Sunday night.
All right, Edwards. Good show. We'll get you with you guys in a couple weeks here. Get back on the baseball train. See if we got any big news. We should have somebody come the first week of December. So for Josh Edwards, I'm Darren Breyer. We'll see you guys next week for 710.